Lael scratched his head and blinked several times. He was back to his senses, and Edath's and Ace's yelling voices were beginning to fade again as Lael remembered everything. He looked at Edath, who was rolling her eyes and laying back, tired of listening to Ace. She looked back to Lael and got serious.
Did you remember anything?
Lael was confused about what he should say. If he admitted he did, worst thing that could happen to him was another brainwashing. If he denied, he would have to deal with the consequences of it, especially when facing with so many people that ended up being responsible for everything that happened in that island. Nael, Miguel, and so many others died because of them.
I'm sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. Remember what?
If something good came out of regaining his memories, it was probably the ability to deceive. Edath tilted her head and made a quick movement with her lips that seemed to be a smile, even though only Lael would notice. She knew he was lying. Ace looked at him with disbelief.
Huh? That can't be!
Sorry, I don't know what you're getting at. Why are you reacting like this?
Ace grated his teeth, but then put on a sad face, even if only for a second. Lael was confused, but he knew Ace was a weird, crazy kid, so he didn't try to bother.
I guess it was a waste of time after all. Let's go then, Lael. We have no business here.
He walked out of the room. Aiken knew Ace was still testing him, and probably still watching him from the smoke mirrors, so he couldn't drop the act. He smiled to Edath and put on an apologetic face.
I apologize for my colleague's behavior. He's new to the team and still familiarizing himself with certain aspects of our work. It was nice to meet you, Edath. I hope we'll meet again on the outside once your sentence is clear.
He grabbed his files and began to walk towards the door.
Clear, huh? With the dark burden I carried until now, I'm sure my future isn't all that clear. See you, Mr. Detective.
Lael held the door's knob and looked at her. He knew Ace couldn't see him from there. He smirked before exiting the room.
Why were you so pissed when I didn't remember anything?
Lael asked after they exited the building, already walking towards the car.
Because I ended up wasting our precious time, of course. I mean, it's not like we were assigned to do anything special anyway, but I still hoped I had some fun.
Ace was acting like a teenager who just got grounded, kicking every small rock he'd find in the ground.
Yeah, right.
They were already close to the car in the desert parking lot. Lael looked around. There wasn't anyone around. With a quick movement, he surprised Ace by throwing him against the car. Before Ace could react, Lael put one of his hands in his mouth and the other was around his neck.
Here's how this is gonna work. I'm going to ask you some questions, and you are going to answer them honestly. And if you try to scream or make a scene, you can permanently say goodbye to that annoying voice of yours. Do you understand?
Ace's eyes were wide open with fear, but he slowly nodded.
Now, what are you hiding? Why were you so eager to make me meet Edath? Why were you even asked to help the office? You're intelligent, I'll give you that. And you know how to manipulate people in your own creepy little fantasy world. But I can clearly see you're just weak.
Lael uncovered the hand of Ace's mouth and waited for him to reply. He could see how scared Ace was, but didn't move an inch. He could cry for all he wanted and beg for his life. That wouldn't even make Lael feel pity or empathy towards him.
I will tell you, but please let me reassure that you won't kill me.
Lael knew that any other guy he would find back in the island would probably attack if Lael would turn soft on them. But he could see right through Ace's expression and words that he wouldn't do anything. He was just asserting dominance upon him, so he knew that Lael was the one to follow, not the rest of the bureau. And he knew it was enough to make Ace think that.
I'll think about it. Let's speak somewhere more private. without the possibility of getting interrupted.
He backed away from Ace and helped him getting composed again, snitching his cell phone in the process to prevent him to even think about doing something stupid. They got inside the car and drove for 5 minutes until Lael found a spot that he knew they wouldn't be interrupted at. Ace got quiet and was looking at the ground all the time.
After all, you're just a kid.
As he parked the car in an open field, which was usually used for lovers to meet, he turned off the engine and looked at him, waiting for him to start talking.
With all places, why would you stop here?
Did you have a bad first experience with someone here?
Yeah, I stabbed someone here when I was 10.
Lael narrowed his eyes, not believing him.
Alright. I was actually 12, jeez.
I'm glad you're amused. But now you're going to quit fucking around and tell me what I need to know. So?
Where'd you want me to start?
From the beginning, I suppose.
Ace hesitated and kept gazing at him. Lael understood he was probably measuring his words.
I know you won't easily believe me, but I'll get you proof to satisfy your doubts. The truth is, I'm still here to watch over you. That's why your department wants, since they brainwashed you.
Lael pretended to be surprised even though he already knew it. Ace told him all about the island and all the memories he had just recovered. Aiken nodded and pretended to be assimilating what he said. He knew he had the upper hand now since Ace told him everything. He could use that in the future.
I see. That's what my department wanted. What do you mean by that?
The other part is because I wanted to test something. I was hoping that if you saw Edath, you'd remember the past year you were with them. Maybe you could remember the rest then.
The rest?
In theory, after brainwashing people, it is needed a deep stimulus to make the person remember part of the memories that were took away from them. It can be a photo, a symbol, or even a person's face. But I'm guessing sometimes there's nothing important enough to make the memories come back.
The older detective then remembered there was a part of his life he couldn't remember at all.
But how could he know about it? Maybe there are some files in the department that would say something about it? And if it's true, why was I brainwashed when I was a kid? Nah, it doesn't make sense. You still haven't told me what the rest is.
You can't remember anything from your early age, can you?
How do you know that?
Because I know your parents brainwashed you. They're the pioneers in brainwashing after all. No one can perform such a perfect brainwash like them, as you can see.
How can I be sure you're telling the truth?
You can go to today's office. It's somewhere in the files. Or you can always search in your parents' house. I'm sure all good scientists have their successful experiments records somewhere in their archives. You probably will find out more stuff in there. I can help you too.
Knowing you, why would you go so far only to verify the outcome of your observation experiment?
Because I was affected by that too.
You were brainwashed too?
They tried, but they failed. Or should I say, she brainwashed me, yeah. But I recovered my memories a week after, which didn't do much. I pretended I didn't recover them though. I didn't like the idea of not knowing what I did in a certain time in my life. But I wish I'd stayed brainwashed sometimes. Things could have been different.
She? Why? Who is she?
My mother. And yes, brainwash is good. It relieves the pain away from the memories we were forced to carry.
Those memories are essential for us to improve as human beings. More importantly, they make us who we are.
Lael shook his head, disappointed with society and his way of thinking.
So your mother was also into brainwashing, huh?
You're not really smart sometimes, are you? Since you're not getting there, I'll tell you. My mother is your mother. We're brothers.
Huh? Quit fucking around!
Alright. We're just half-brothers. Jeez, I didn't think you'd like to put up such a barrier like that with a nomenclature of...
I told you to quit the bullshit!
Lael put his hands around Ace's neck.
You think this is funny? You think I won't kill you for wasting my time? You don't know what I've been through! I have no brothers or sisters.
Ace was trying to remove Lael's hands, failing. Then he fetched his wallet and threw it at him.
Look, it died. I'm choking.
Aiken stopped choking him. Still wary, Ace began to cough as he was trying to regain his breath. Aiken looked inside the wallet. He found some money and cards and nothing apparently interesting. Ace pointed to an inside compartment Lael didn't notice. He opened it and removed a small envelope and a photo. The older detective looked at the photo first, which was folded and a bit stained. He recognized him and his mother instantly. His mother, still young and with her beautiful long blonde hair, was smiling while hugging a small and serious Lael and another cheerful child. Lael couldn't remember anything from that time, but he could guess he was around 8 years old. Aiken was bothered by the coldness in his blue eyes. He then looked at the chubby child. He was a redhead, had green eyes and freckles, just like Ace.
This doesn't prove anything. Only that my mother and I somehow knew you. Besides, we look nothing alike, and apart from your green eyes, there's no resemblance to my mother.
Ace pointed to the envelope as telling him to read. Lael sighed and gave him the wallet and the photo back, opening the small envelope. He took a paper from there and opened it. He began to read.
It's my birth certificate. Your mother's name is also Rachel Esther Aiken, isn't it?
Lael put his hands on his face. The certificate was real. Everything he said was true. Ace Ruskin was Lael Aiken half-brother.